Did you know that one of the most critical military intelligence operations of World War II, a campaign that fundamentally shaped the Allied victory, was masterminded by a woman with a prosthetic leg, who was so successful the Nazis dubbed her the Limping Lady and considered her one of the most dangerous Allied spies? This is the incredible true story of Virginia Hall, an American socialite who became a secret agent, a true American heroine whose astonishing bravery, sheer cunning, and indomitable spirit made her a force the Nazis could never break. Her story is one that Hollywood has barely touched, a testament to the unsung heroes who altered the course of history far from the glamorous spotlight. The socialite who refused to be limited. Virginia Hall was born in 1906 into a comfortable, well-to-do Baltimore family. She was brilliant, educated in the finest schools, and possessed an adventurous, almost restless spirit. Her dream was a diplomatic career, to be a foreign service officer representing the United States on the global stage. For a woman of her generation, this was already an unconventional ambition, but Virginia was determined. She studied in France, Germany, and Austria, mastering languages and cultivating a cosmopolitan ease. She was fluent in French, a key asset that would later save her life countless times. In 1931, she finally secured a clerical position at the American Embassy in Warsaw, Poland, and later moved to consular work in Izmir, Turkey. Her career was on track. Then disaster struck in 1933. While hunting in Turkey, she accidentally shot herself in the left leg below the knee. The wound became severely infected and the leg had to be amputated. For Virginia, this was more than a physical injury. It was a devastating blow to her professional dreams. The U.S. State Department had a strict policy that prevented anyone with an amputation from entering the Foreign Service proper. Her ambition, it seemed, was permanently crippled. But Virginia Hall was not one to accept a door slammed in her face. If the government wouldn't allow her to serve in a suit and tie, she would find another, more dangerous way. The war beckons, setting the stage in France. When World War II exploded in Europe in September 1939, Virginia was working as an ambulance driver in Paris. The fall of France in 1940 was a moment of profound crisis, but for Hall, it was a call to action. She soon made her way to London and volunteered for the newly created British Special Operations Executive, or SOE, a clandestine organization formed by Winston Churchill with the directive to set Europe ablaze through espionage, sabotage, and guerrilla warfare behind enemy lines. The SOE was a notoriously harsh, demanding organization. They recruited agents for their resilience, intelligence, and ability to blend into the occupied territory. Virginia, with her excellent French, local knowledge, and an unwavering commitment, was accepted. She was given a minimal 3-month training course that involved demolitions, codes, and unarmed combat before being dispatched. In August 1941, Virginia Hall became the first female American agent to enter occupied France. Her cover was a New York Post reporter, though she also used the code name Marie. She was sent to Vichy, France, the unoccupied southern zone, to establish and manage the first permanent SOE network in the region. The birth of a legend, the lady who limps. Operating out of Lyon, Hall quickly proved to be a natural. Her diplomatic background gave her a masterful ability to organize, manage resources, and recruit a disparate group of French civilians into a cohesive resistance movement. She created the Héctor network, one of the most effective and enduring in southern France. Her tasks were monumental. Recruitment and training, finding reliable, brave, and discreet French citizens to act as saboteurs, couriers, and safe house providers. Logistics, identifying secure drop zones for supply parachutes, organizing the collection and distribution of weapons, explosives, and radios. Intelligence, coordinating the gathering of military, naval, and political intelligence from troop movements and fortifications to ship departure times and transmitting it back to London. Virginia Hall was everywhere.
She organized the prison break of several captured agents, coordinated acts of sabotage against German infrastructure, and maintained a flow of vital information that London came to rely on. Her prosthetic leg, which she nicknamed Cuthbert, was both a secret and a constant challenge. She had to walk with a distinct limp, which ironically became her ultimate identifier. The Gestapo and the German Abwehr, military intelligence, quickly became aware of a highly effective, elusive Allied operative in Lyon. Their internal reports spoke of a spy with unmatched cunning and networking skills. Because of the noticeable gait, they eventually identified her. La Dame qui boite, the Limping Lady. The reward for her capture was astronomical. German intelligence declared her the most dangerous of all Allied spies and launched a massive, all-out hunt. The escape over the Pyrenees. In November 1942, the situation became untenable. Germany occupied Vichy France, eliminating the last buffer of safety. The Gestapo closed in on Lyon, executing captured agents and informants. Virginia Hall knew she had to escape immediately, but her escape route over the Pyrenees was not designed for a person with an artificial leg. She radioed to London, stating the difficulty of the task. "Cuthbert is being a nuisance. I hope to cope." London, unaware that Cuthbert was her wooden leg, replied tersely, "If Cuthbert is a nuisance, eliminate him." Hall must have smiled at the dark, unintentional humor. The subsequent escape was an epic feat of endurance. Disguised as an elderly peasant woman, Virginia Hall began the grueling multi-day trek across the snow-covered 7,500-foot-high Pyrenees Mountains into Spain. The mountain passes were treacherous, and the cold was brutal. Every step was agonizing. Her wooden leg rubbed raw against her stump, making the simplest movement a blinding flash of pain. On the verge of collapse from exhaustion and agony, she was finally smuggled across the border and promptly arrested by Spanish authorities for illegally crossing the border. Through a mixture of diplomacy, bluster, and sheer force of will, she secured her release and returned to London in 1943. A second act, return with the OSS. In 1944, Hall officially joined the American Office of Strategic Services, the OSS, the wartime predecessor to the CIA, becoming one of its few women field agents. But the OSS had a problem. They needed her to return to France, which was now under the direct, brutal control of the Nazis, and where her face and her limp were known to every Gestapo agent. Virginia Hall, ever the pragmatist, engineered a radical solution. She was given a new codename Diane and a perfect, flawless new disguise. She had her hair dyed gray, had her teeth altered to change her smile, and began wearing layers of heavy clothing to make her appear heavier, transforming herself into a simple, middle-aged farm woman. More importantly, she perfected a completely different, almost imperceptible way of walking, a shuffle that completely concealed her famous limp. In the spring of 1944, she was secretly landed by a Royal Navy motor gunboat in Brittany. Her new mission was to establish and arm resistance units in the rugged, remote Haute-Loire region before the D-Day landings. Operating alone, she trekked through the French countryside, setting up the new Saint network. Her primary contact was an OSS radio operator who, astonishingly, was operating from a convent hidden in the French Alps. The work was slow, dangerous, and required immaculate discretion. The final, most critical phase. As D-Day approached in June 1944, Hall's operation shifted from organization to direct action. The goal was to tie down German forces in the interior of France, preventing them from reinforcing the beachheads in Normandy. Hall became the general and quartermaster of the Shadow War. She directed sabotage operations, targeting communications, cutting vital communication lines, telephone wires and radio relays to plunge German command into chaos. Ambushing convoys, organizing attacks on German convoys and supply trains traveling toward the invasion zone. Guiding airdrops, coordinating massive nighttime airdrops of thousands of pounds of arms and ammunition, a dangerous operation done under the nose of German patrols. Working with local Maquis, French resistance groups, she formed and equipped 3 battalions of freedom fighters. Her intelligence reports were meticulous, providing the Allies with clear pictures of German troop strength and positions. In one particularly famous operation, her resistance group, armed with the weapons she had delivered, fought a successful 2-day battle against a detachment of 150 German soldiers, killing or capturing a dozen and forcing the rest to retreat. This type of action, replicated by dozens of networks across France, had a profound strategic effect. As the Allies advanced from Normandy, German divisions were constantly harassed, delayed, and forced to divert valuable resources to fight the terrorists in the rear.